This morning, an aerial search is expected to be launched in the search for a missing man out of Johnson County. Nicholas Collins was reported missing out of Iowa on December 29th.
His vehicle was found abandoned on a county road in Oark, Arkansas on January 1st. The white Mini Cooper, the license plate missing. Now, crews have been searching on the ground, but today Arkansas State Police is expected to have a helicopter in the air to help in the search.
Well, voters across the River Valley are heading to the polls today to cast their ballots in the Republican primary for the Senate District 26 special election.
5 News reporter Jacob Luthi live in Sebastian County this morning with a look at those candidates and to break it all down. Good morning, Jacob.
Hey, good morning, Joe. Good morning, Tiffany. Right here at Sebastian County EMS here in Greenwood. This is just one of various locations around both Sebastian County, Logan, Franklin, and Johnson, where all these voters will be coming out today. Again, polls open today at 7:30. And if you're a little bit unsure about the candidates, let's introduce you to them. So there's 5 Republicans in this primary that are running for the special election for Senate District 26. That's Ted Tritt, Stacey Smith, Brad Simon, Mark Berry, and Wade Dunn. They're all vying for the Republican nomination. Now, the field includes 3 businessmen, a former state representative, and a community affairs coordinator for Arkansas Oklahoma Gas. Now, while they're all different candidates, one issue that they all agree on is their opposition to the proposed 3,000-bed Franklin County prison project. The seat has been vacant since the passing of State Senator Gary Stubblefield back in September of last year. Election officials across the district say that they've spent weeks preparing polling locations and equipment following the start of early voting that happened about 1 week ago. A runoff will be held on February 3rd if needed. Now, the winner of this election will go on and face independent challenger Adam Watson in the general election come March 3rd. Again, the election starts at 7:30 this morning, closes at 7:30 tonight. For a list of all those locations, you can visit our website at 5newsonline.com. But for now, we're live in Greenwood, covering news where you live. Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
Thanks for that, Jacob. Well, you can see a list of polling locations for today's primary at 5newsonline.com. Just text the word election to the number right there, 479-785-5000, and we'll send you a link to our special election guide. Well, more than a month after a mother and 2 children were found dead in their Bonanza home, investigators continue working to piece together what happened. Charity Bialis and her twin children were found with gunshot wounds 1 day after a final divorce hearing in Sebastian County. Court records showed that her husband, Dr. Randall Bialis, was arrested earlier this year on a domestic assault charge and later pleaded guilty. Experts say in cases like this, investigators closely examine forensic evidence.
There's typically some type of triggering event. Why did it occur on this day instead of a week before or a week later? So the day is important and time is important because offenders have choices that they can make. So why wasn't it a month earlier?
Authorities say the investigation remains active and detectives are reviewing records, phone data, and witness statements. No public threat has been identified. Well, you can find all of our coverage on the case and follow updates as they come into our newsroom with the free 5 News app.
Well, former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife are back in a Brooklyn detention center. The 2 pleaded not guilty to federal narco-terrorism charges in their arraignment on Monday. Inside the courtroom, Maduro declared himself via translator innocent, a decent man, and still, he says, the constitutional president of Venezuela. The next court date for Maduro and his wife is set for mid-March. Now, in Washington, key Trump administration officials briefed senior members of Congress on the Venezuela operation. Lawmakers say they're split on whether the U.S. is at war and if Congress should have been consulted.
We are not at war. We don't expect troops on the ground.
Without question, this is war. They bombed half of Caracas and then removed him.
Well, reports are coming out that in a phone interview, President Trump said that the U.S. is not at war with Venezuela, but with people who sell drugs. The president also warning the U.S. could take more action if Venezuela's newly sworn-in interim president stops cooperating.
Well, Maduro's court appearance has prompted reaction worldwide. In Chile, the president-elect praised the U.S. intervention, saying it's good news a dictator has been arrested. But in London and Lisbon, there were demonstrations against the U.S. military operation. In Brazil, protesters burned American flags outside the U.S. consulate. And Venezuelans now living in the U.S. say that they're focused on what comes next.
We know that this is the beginning of the end, and this will be the start of a new time for Venezuela.
Former general who now lives in Arkansas says anytime you put troops on the ground, you need approval for it.
It probably violated international law. They didn't inform the Congress and get permission under the War Powers Act to do this, as the administration said they would. But on the other hand, they did have a finding, I believe, which authorized them to do it through intelligence operations.
Well, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has defended the White House's decision, previously saying, quote, this was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification on.
Well, federal health officials have announced an overhaul of the childhood vaccine schedule, now recommending fewer shots. But some experts say that they fear recommending fewer immunizations will lead to more infections. Reed Binion has more.
Today, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy announced plans to alter the U.S. childhood vaccination schedule.
Health experts expressing concern over the Department of Health and Human Services' decision to recommend fewer vaccines for most American children.
If changes to our schedule are needed, and over the years we've made lots of changes when evidence supported it, they should come from careful scientific review.
A number of recommendations remain intact, including those for the measles, mumps, and rubella, and immunizations against polio, chickenpox, HPV, and others. But officials are narrowing recommendations for some vaccinations, including hepatitis A and B, to children who are broadly at higher risk for infections. As for flu, COVID-19, and rotavirus, officials recommend vaccination decisions be based on consultation with a healthcare provider. Some experts worry reduced vaccinations could lead to more preventable infections in children.
Parents deserve clear, consistent, evidence-based guidance they can trust.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.